Richter. It's not what you think it is. I mean, it is what you think it is, but it's also so much more. We've been looking at Richter tuning through a keyhole, it turns out, and we're not seeing the full picture. You would have seen other parts of the picture, but only through more keyholes, so the picture stays fragmented. And you and me, we stay confused. And other parts of the picture are completely uncharted, so today I want to give you the full picture on Richter and show you why it's got at least 42 other positions that you've not even considered before. I know that doesn't sound possible, but that's why it's fascinating. So let's get to it. For this to make sense, you're going to need just a basic understanding of the modes of the major scale. So that's what they are broadly, how they relate to each other broadly, how they relate to the circle of fifths broadly, and how positions are useful tools for changing modes on the harmonica. Now, I've linked some resources in the description, including some of my own if you need a refresher, but this is only going to take 5 minutes, so why not stick around and see how you go. There's something which might be well known to you already, but we can't skip over here as a very quick definition of the Richter tuning system itself. Even if you think you know this, just stick around, it's going to get novel real quick. Now let's just clear down this harp face so we have a blank canvas, a Richter tuned harp in first position. Okay. Now Richter tuning was invented to give the player 3 things. 1, a 1-chord triad available all the way along the blow row. 2, a 5-chord triad in the lower register, and when we change to second position here we'll see that these notes are in fact a triad chord on the 5 chord. And returning to first position for point 3, a full scale available in the middle and upper register without bends. And that's a major or Ionian scale. And there is a compromise being made here on the 10 hole to prioritise the 1-chord triad, which was point 1, over the ability to play the 7th scale degree of the scale. And that's all they had in mind. And that's all they needed to play absolutely banging Ionian mode, or major, German folk music of the time. If you need more detail on what's just been said there, then look to the description again for resources explaining this grounding concept, but we're moving on to the revelations. Now this is where history and context come in and play their role. Because if the music those funky Germans have been playing were in the Dorian mode, rather than the Ionian mode, then most likely they would have created this instead, where they achieve the same exact 3 things. Number 1, a 1-chord triad, available all the way along the blow row, which is now a minor triad, as is appropriate for the Dorian mode. 2, a 5-chord triad in the lower register, which is also a minor triad because the mode of the 5 chord would be Aeolian, which is also minor, more on this later. And point 3, a full Dorian scale available in the middle and upper register without bends, with the same compromise that we saw before. So the goals of the Richter system are ambivalent to the mode that you're making the tuning for, and that's why I call Richter a system rather than a tuning. There are many tunings you can configure using the Richter system, all of the modes of the major scale at the very least, which leads us on to our first revelation. This is why we call our one, this one, let's go back to the first page where the Germans were playing major mode music, that's why we call this one the major diatonic. It's the major or Ionian tuned Richter system, and that's why the major diatonic we commonly know is identical to what we have listed in this Richter section as Ionian Richter. You see, the layout of the harp didn't change at all. And it's really interesting to play with these tunings to see how the modal scales are shifted relative to how you're familiar with playing them on the Ionian Richter. And what I mean by that is that, well, we all know that second position on the Ionian Richter is the Mixolydian mode, and we all know that third position on the Ionian Richter is Dorian mode. Now let's quickly go back to first position before we make the next point. So on a Mixolydian Richter, where first position is Mixolydian, you see we wouldn't be playing B here, which is the 7th scale degree anymore. We would be playing B flat, which is the flat 7, making it Mixolydian. On this harp, 12th position is Ionian. You go back down the list to Ionian. And second position, again moving up from Mixolydian, is Dorian. So Dorian is third position on an Ionian Richter and second position on a Mixolydian Richter. And it would of course be first position on a Dorian Richter. So you see the position to mode mapping is shifted up one each time. Now let's return to the second page to look at the Dorian Richter that we set up as our hypothetical German Dorian folk instrument for our next revelation. Now if you're sharp, you'll remember that first position we can play the Dorian scale like we already have here, and if we play the same notes in second position, well that's going to be an Aeolian scale, otherwise known as natural minor. Now it turns out that this is the tuning which Seidel, Lee Oskar, and most people in the harp-speaking world call natural minor tuning, because when they set it up, they were only thinking about it being played in second position. See, again, when we change to the commonly named natural minor tuning, the layout on the harp face hasn't changed. Back to Dorian Richter, and again to the commonly named natural minor. The layout's not changing. Now let's just change back to Dorian Richter to stay on track with the naming. And the same is the case with country tuning. Now, country tuning has a few variations, but the common theme is that we want to be able to play an Ionian scale in second position. Well, that's exactly what the Lydian Richter will give you. Now, it's a big jump from Dorian to Lydian here, so excuse me while I tidy these up. And then we'll see that since we're already in second position, we're playing the Ionian or major mode. Now, country music makes use of the flat 3, the flat 5, along with all the bending that we're used to in second position, and that's why people favour this over playing an Ionian Richter in first position. And the list goes on. You know, what we've called Mixolydian Richter here is often called Dorian cross, because people are interested in playing Dorian in second position, cross harp. You see, we're still in second position. And I'm not taking a shot at anyone here. You know, naming your tuning based on the position you're configuring it for makes a lot of sense. But one thing is clear from all this. Positional playing is about more than just the scales made available. And that's because musical character is about more than just the scale you play. Each position contains textural, chordal, and tonal characteristics, both opportunities and quirks. And this is why I love harmonica. It's an instrument of perverted specialization, and every perversion is its own specialization. So to return to our clickbait title, that's why, if we accept that there are 7 major modal tunings available within the Richter system, as we have here, and 7 positions for normal people to play on each, then there are 49 unique sounds to explore within this one humble system. That's 42 more than the 7 max that you've already discovered. And isn't that a marvellous thought? We should all have a soft spot for Richter. Its scope has vastly outstripped its ambition, and I hope I've shown that not only applies to the achievements of positional playing, but also to its unacknowledged fingerprint in the body of alternate tunings, and the as yet unexplored possibilities in the numerous permutations therein. Richter is not the only system, and everything I've said here is applicable to any other, like Spiral, as we've also got in this list. But that is a meagre concession. Richter is even more ubiquitous than you knew. Even Howard Levy still has some work to do. And Richter is laughing at you and your 3-position repertoire. I'd love to know what you think about all this, so do drop a comment with your thoughts below. Were you surprised by anything here? Has it helped you gain a better understanding of what Richter is? Do you think I've got anything wrong? Let's get a conversation going. And remember to like and subscribe. And if you like the look of Harp Guru, then check it out on the Android and iOS stores now.